What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Combat Deviants here. We got Steve, we got Andy the CrAsian Nguyen, and Evil Eddie joining you guys once again after a crazy week that was combat sports. What's going on, Steve? What's going on, Andy? You look pretty tonight. Oh, here, try unmute the guest mic. Is your mic muted?
Yeah, her mic's still muted. There.
Okay, am I live?
Now you're in. Now you're in. What's going on, Andy? How's Kiwi? Where's Kiwi at?
You don't see Kiwi? Dead asleep. This is literally our bedtime, I swear.
This is crazy because all of us, except for me, have big dogs. Steve, what do you got? A pit bull or something?
Yeah,
crazy?
I got a 120-pound baby pit bull.
Yeah, I got a 1.2 pound rat.
Who thinks he's still a baby dog and still jumping
I
on
weigh
top of you?
123 right now.
You know what? You know what?
You're almost at fighting weight. There we go.
You know what's crazy, other than this entire week of mixed martial arts, is that Belly Up Sports YouTube channel has been growing exponentially thanks to our listeners here, thanks to Steve and all of our guests. We got a crazy show lined up for you guys. Obviously, we have Andy here, and then Alan Belcher is going to be joining us in just a little bit. The transformation this guy has gone through is absolutely crazy. Being one of the top contenders in the UFC, stepping out because he was afraid of an eye injury getting worse. Now he's in BKFC. But Andy has an upcoming fight January 27th for BKFC 35 and an after party, which sounds pretty crazy, at the Dollhouse. So getting into things, Andy, are you excited?
Andy's gonna be getting it in as per usual. So if anyone who's listening is gonna be in the area, make sure you guys are checking out not only the fights, but if you want to be elbow to elbow with the fighters afterwards, obviously Andy always has fun at some venue in the area, and especially if you're in Myrtle Beach, that's like your second home, your backyard, right?
The debut.
Yes, and it's a home for golfers and strip clubs. So the Dollhouse is a gentleman's club, and they tip your dancers and stuff, and you gotta support the single moms. I'm a single mom.
So Andy, let me ask you this: you're talking about strippers. My little sister, she's in the business of exotic dancing. Should I be worried about this? I mean, I see like you do some amazing photos, you make money off of your looks, but not only that, you have talent, you've driven yourself, you followed a hobby, you don't rely on your looks, you have something that promotes, hey, watch me and then watch what I can do. But for my little sister, I'm a little worried that she's doing this and might get stuck in that life. So what kind of advice would you give somebody that doesn't necessarily have something that they're chasing other than just their looks?
Oh, I don't know. How old is she?
21. She just turned 21.
Oh man, I to be honest with you, I never had the balls to get on the pole or anything like that. It's easier for me to walk in the cage than like I don't know. I know photo shoots, you guys see that, but I've been friends with these photographers since I was like in my mid-20s. So like I only use like 3-4 photographers, the same ones all the time. So I've known them forever, but I don't know what to say, especially that I've never done that before. So I don't know what to say.
Well, when it comes to stuff like that, like people, like my mom was like, well, this is what people do to pay for college, this and that. And I totally understand that.
Is she saving up her money for something better?
Yeah, she's trying to get a car. Okay. She's trying to get out on her own. And she was working at Walmart getting minimum wage. It wasn't going anywhere. So I'm trying to like put it in her head. This isn't a long-term thing. Just get your money up and then let's go,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I would do that, if I was that young again, put some money to the side and go to college. That's what a lot of people do. What's that? The little monster girl from in the UFC. She was a stripper. She's freaking killing it right now.
Oh, that's my homegirl, Vanessa Demopoulos.
Yeah, Vanessa. Yeah, she's a great example. And then there's, then there's girls out there that's going to OnlyFans and everything. And I don't judge people for doing that at all. I have a lot of friends that's telling me to do it, and I just do my pictures for free. I'm like, whatever. I don't need money that bad yet. Not like I don't know. I think I have other things. Like I still have my nail license in my cosmetology. I keep that up. I'm Asian. We used to do, I used to do nails. I used to have my own nail shop. That's what we do. And so I kept it up. So I could always have things to fall back on. And I don't know. I just don't like being one dimensional where I have no choice but to only do this,
Yeah, I totally understand that. But there's one thing that I gotta give you props for. I saw, like, I used to put spoons on my nose, right, as a kid, but you were getting a spoon pushed into your head, I saw, to get rid of a hematoma. I never even knew that was like a thing. Can you tell, like, what the hell does that do? Does it really get rid of the hematoma?
What you use with the flat iron to like flatten out your when you're fighting, you have that little silver, I don't know, the thing that flattens out your hematoma and stuff like that. Well, we didn't have one backstage. We were traveling to Canada. So what you do is you put the spoon on the ice to like get it really cold, and you flatten it out. So it won't be like a big so I would look like Joanna Jezerdek. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Joanna's fight. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. She had that.
Yeah. You know, I'm talking about that little thing. I forgot what it's called. It's what fighters use.
Hematoma.
Yeah. But it flattens it out. It looks like a flat iron.
Yeah.
Then he's using a spoon to flatten it out. And then literally that picture, the next with the girls, was literally probably 10 minutes later. He flattened it out really well. It hurt. Like,
wow.
He did a good job. He did a good job. Because if he didn't do that, I would have walked around looking like Joanna Jezebel. And this is how it works when you have a black eye, when you have a hematoma, the blood flows down. So I would have two black eyes. So I think I ended up only having one because it dripped down that way. But like, if you don't get that fixed, the blood will go down and you will have two black eyes. Yeah.
So we were talking about it last week about, blowing your nose and then the hematoma comes, right? Or is that?
No. That was from like a punch, and it just made it big. I didn't blow my nose or anything like that. Now, you're not supposed to blow your nose when something like that. What happened to Cowboy Cerrone? Did he blow it out and then something happened to his eye?
That's right.
Like,
that's what I'm thinking of.
Cavities, like there's a lot of things going on, and like he blew. I don't know what he did. He blew something out, and then something happened to his eyes.
Yeah, that was absolutely awful. Are you paying attention to all that's going on inside the UFC with Dana White, the slap competition, upcoming fights? Like, how well do you have your ear to the ground? Do you follow up with mixed martial arts news, or do you kind of just do your thing?
I follow whoever I follow on Instagram, so I just see it on my feed. I think it's hilarious. It's ironic how like he was trying to promote Slap League, and then he did it with to his wife, and they claimed they never had that altercation before in so many years, and 30-something years of marriage and stuff like that. And I don't know, it's pretty crappy.
Well, you've been in situations, some of your friends have had situations kind of similar to that. Like, how do you feel? Because a lot of men I've talked to about this, they're defending Dana White, but me personally, I would never be able to do that. Coming from a young man that was raised by a single mother, I could never ever do that.
Yeah, I mean, they do have children together too. I don't know. Now, I've done some things like when I was drunk and in my early 20s, and if I do it now, I know if I'm buzzed or something, I have a conscience. I do tell myself, no, you can't do this. So at his age, I mean, I don't know how much they were saying there was alcohol involved. It's New Year's Eve. I get it, but you usually don't drink that. You don't usually drink that much anyways. And I mean, I have no idea. I can't defend him. You're still responsible for your actions. You can blame it on alcohol all you want. At the end of the day, I mean, you still did it. I mean, what if you drove off and got a DUI and you killed somebody?
Yeah.
You're going to alcohol that one time in 30-something years that you've been doing this, and it just happened. You're still guilty. It happened. So I wouldn't have his back for it. You know, nobody had my back when I was doing stupid shit. So,
right? No one has our back when we do stupid shit. And I think it's funny, like how he kind of like manipulates like kind of everyone to sit there thinking like, oh, it was just like no big deal, and then.
Yeah.
And then we're having the slap league go on, and you know, I think that, you know, we're seeing it's still something I don't think it really should be on TV or anything like that. It's just it's one of Dana's pet projects, and he gets because of all the connections he's made over the last 20-30 years. He gets to have it on you know, TBS or some network television where I mean, in my opinion, like this is just you know, stuff you know, stupid teenagers did when you know, all right, let's see who's tougher, you know, let's have slap boxing competitions. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like I get it. Like he's you know, he's Dana White, but like this is we have enough stuff in combat sports to not be to have things go on to be not taken seriously. Like how like you're just talking about Dana doing what he did on New Year's with his wife. Obviously, you know, there's two sides to it. It doesn't, you know, I don't think anything he did was right, but I also don't think that we completely demonize him, because obviously, you know, he said or did something to get something at her, and she at him. We live in a day and age, you know how people react, regardless if alcohol is involved or not. Someone hits you, you're gonna go back at it in some way. I don't feel like he should have reacted as he did. But it's one of those things where you know, when you're in a relationship, you know how it goes. Sometimes like where one or the other takes it too far. Sometimes it's with words. Sometimes it does get physical. So I mean, it's very unfortunate. And here's one of these things like where he doesn't go with because of like in the situation he gets to kind of put it off, or like, oh, well, my only punishment is X, Y, and Z. I think that's kind of the biggest turnoff on it. But that is what it is that right now. That's, I guess, kind of the world we live in. But on the other side of that, you know, like you said, you only follow who you've been up with. What do you think about the whole Francis Ngannou playing out his contract, not getting a proper return, and doing what he's doing, testing free agency and seeing what he does?
Man, it's kind of interesting. Everybody's giving him like offers. Like a lot of people are reaching out to him, you know. BKFC.
Yeah. You seen your current employer throw his hat into that. Like, hey, what's up, Francis? You know what I mean?
I know. Yeah, my bosses. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I think it's awesome. It's a great opportunity. He has all the right to say what he wanted to say. He wanted
this is something like
this. He wanted that, and he couldn't get it. I mean, that's the only thing about Dana White right now, because I'm not going to have his back just because there's other things that he has taken advantage of with like fighters. I guess, you know, it's so hard for these fighters to get in the UFC, and once they get there, they don't even make much. MMA people should make more money than boxing. I swear, just because it's more mixed martial arts combined, it's a lot of freaking training. You know, my body is so much. It feels so much better just training boxing. It really is, and I'm getting paid way more than what I was doing in MMA.
And that's actually something I wanted to ask you on the flip side of things. Like, I think it's almost been 2 years since you had an MMA fight. Being that you've been in BKFC now, you know, you know, we're getting ready to potentially get a winning streak together here. Is it something where it, you know, you might actually prefer to continue to do bare knuckle, and we might not actually see you do MMA for some time?
Oh, I just did MMA for Palace Athena in Canada back in, I think that was August. So I did April BKFC, and then August I did Canada MMA, and then now I'm doing BKFC again, and I much rather do boxing or bare knuckle boxing. And plus, you know, with my age and everything, grappling and jiu-jitsu, like I still have teammates that do MMA, and I still do it with them, and I'm like, freak, like, man, I'm sore. I am so sore for like.
Hey, you're not sore enough to do
that's
those.
How I know I'm 40.
It's like yeah, I want to be
like
a good teammate, but I don't know if I want to get into a MMA camp right now, especially if the way bare knuckle has taken off over the last 5 years. I think it is a good investment for fighters who especially come from the heavy striking background over the grappling background, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do like bare knuckle MMA also, because like I could do anything, and I love to kick and I love to elbow. So like if they push more with like more girls join, and I will be down for that too. For some reason, like not having these stiff new gloves it just feels freer. I feel normal. Yeah. So, but yeah, I think it, you know, it works for me. For I can only talk about myself and my experience. It works well for me, being non-exclusive with the contracts, and I could do whatever I want. And you know, just as long as I don't have a fight lined up with them, and it's not another bare knuckle promotion, then you know I could do it. So I'm enjoying this, what I'm doing.
So
right now.
you're obviously you're BKFC exclusive when it comes to bare knuckle.
Non-exclusive. So 3-fight contract deal, non-exclusive. But I just can't do another bare knuckle promotion.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Great. Didn't you just do Risen?
Ryzen?
Yeah.
I haven't been in Ryzen like years, and like before COVID.
Well, it feels like yesterday with that walkout
was
I wish.
Game Bread, right? It was Game Bread.
Game Bread?
Yeah, the recent one was Game Bread, not Risen.
The bare knuckle MMA was Game Bread.
Yeah.
I fought for everybody.
You literally have. I mean, you fought for Lions. I think the only place you haven't fought was
for
what? UFC?
Bellator. I fought for Ryzen. I fought for.
I think the only place you haven't fought is the UFC.
Yeah,
that's pretty much
it.
it.
Only 18-year-olds, you know, and I'm not there anymore. I'm not 18.
No,
now,
I got
obviously we talk about it a lot. Me and you over the years. Do you have a fun walked out plan for this one?
Well, I've never fought in this venue before, so I don't know, but that's why you guys got to tune in and watch.
How long does it typically take you for you to put together these things? You know, is it something you just decide the night of, or do you put this?
I decide that month of, if I have an idea or like a song or something going on with my life at the time, and then I'm trying to like measure the time frame of the walkout. I never walked out in this venue, so I don't know. I knew Ryzen was going to be long, so I kind of knew where, you know, I can kind of picture it and how to do my walkout. But like this one, I don't know.
So you don't know how long to walk from the stage?
I don't know. It's not going to be as long as Ryzen, of course, but it still should be fun. I mean, I'm spunky, you know, I try to make it spunky. I'm going to, you know,
there she goes.
I'm probably going to be fighting around this time too. And usually when I'm around people, I get more hyped up and stuff. I'm not like sleepy like I am with Kiwi. Kiwi and I go to sleep early. You know, that's how I know I'm 40. I go to bed early. My takeovers last over 24 hours. And I'm super sore after grappling.
I mean, you still can stick and move. You don't look it at all. So when it comes down to it, I mean, if I put you next to somebody that's 23 years old, I couldn't tell the difference whatsoever.
This is edited. There's a filter going on right now.
So one thing I want to bring up to you for sure is that you were just at an event, the Slam down in Florida, and I got to see Amanda Nunes was there, Ariana Lipsky, Matt Hardy, and Taylor was there as well, which I guess you're really close with, right?
Yeah. So yeah, we were all there.
So what did you guys do at something like this? Because it looks pretty interesting. You got a mix of wrestlers, mix of combat sports people. What goes down at these things?
Not a big orgy. No, that's a not. I think one of the Hardy Boys got a DUI. I did good. I had an edible.
Oh shit.
I stayed within my lane and went to bed early.
So marijuana just became legal in Connecticut. My little brother, who never smokes ever, just took his first edible, and I was just like, dude, you're gonna be out on your feet once they don't know how much to take. You know what I mean?
I take a little bite off mine. I can't do a whole one.
It's one of those things where I never thought I would see this in my lifetime, but it has so many more positives over drinking. Like Nick Diaz was saying, Elias Theodorou, who I've spoke with about this as well. When you guys get injured, they're like, here's a bunch of painkillers. And he's like, I'd rather have, cannabis to recover. Do you feel like that's a big step forward now that cannabis is being more open over, because painkillers can destroy lives?
Yeah, it definitely is. It's man-made. I actually take Delta 8 in the strand. And so I usually don't even do the real THC edible. If I do, I feel like I'm going to OD, I swear. And I'm sitting there praying to God I don't OD, and I know I'm not going to.
You'll be the first one.
It just feels like I'm going to. But so technically, I think Delta 8
is what I always hear with people. Is basically like edibles are so much worse than actually smoking it or whatever.
Yeah, so it's tolerable and it makes you sleep good, and
So you get bad trips over it, because that's happened to me. I took a couple edibles and I was sitting there, I could feel my heartbeat, and I've done name it, and I was like, this is very intense. I can't. What's going on right now? Like it felt like I was tripping.
And then you know how you smoke weed and then you have the munchies, you eat your highway. Well, no, you can't do that with edibles because it's in your bloodstream. You eat more, it goes. You get higher, and I'm like, what the freak am I doing? Like it's not going away. Yeah, it's the opposite.
And like I smoke every day, so when it comes like to eating an edible, I felt like I was in 8th grade again. It was my first time, and I was like in the woods, just laying down, just when is this gonna end? It was a pretty brutal experience. So now that it's legal, I think people should be a little safe with the edibles. I definitely recommend smoking it first before taking edibles.
Yeah,
especially if you do dabs or something like that.
It's really strong. I don't like to smoke because I like to, I have good cardio and I don't like to, I just don't like to smoke. So I eat a little pinch off the edible, and it's Delta 8 usually. If I touch a real one, I have to like take a micro dose. And
so you did this at Slam Down?
Yeah. I was sitting there. I'll show you a picture of what I look like when I was trying to. Oh my God, it's kind of funny.
You know what's weird? Like when I used to like get paranoid when I was smoking when I was younger, I would hate going to stores or talking to people. Like it was so weird. Did you kind of experience that being around all?
No, I just smile and I sign.
Yeah.
That's it.
Now Steve's been to a bunch of these things, and one time recently, Steve, what happened? Somebody didn't show up, or?
Oh, the Kevin Nash thing. Yeah.
Kevin Nash.
Well, he first canceled, and I think it was just like the flight was just got messed up, and he's a big dude, and all they had was like economy class. Can't put him in like he's freaking he's really like 6'9", so like he didn't make it. Then I think the second time when he got booked, he wound up not showing up. It was the dispute over like how much he was getting paid, and like he was just like blowing the guy off about it. But I don't know if you've seen the comments recently since his son passed. Like he did a podcast recently. He was talking about eating a bullet, and like as long as he left the note, he felt like he was cool with everything. Did you see any about that about him, Andy?
No, I did not.
Well, he has a podcast right now, so like I guess like he like there's obviously constantly being on air talking to and I guess like he was talking about like stuff he's going through with his son, and mental health thing is a big thing in everything. Everyone goes through right now, and just like I think a lot of people should be transparent. But like when you lose like your kid, like that's not an easy thing to deal with, especially being his age, going through things he's going through. So like everyone like kind of reach out to everyone. It don't matter how we're talking Kevin Nash level, or if it's like me, Eddie, whoever. Like it like I think we all need to come to a point where we need to look out for humanity as it is, because it's becoming few and far between anymore.
Yeah,
but it's rough to see some of the comments he was making. It's just it's kind of heartbreaking just knowing what he's going through, and just hearing how okay he is with just the potential of him eating a bullet. It's just rough to see that.
Yeah.
Well, we live in a day and age where it's so mobile. Like now, obviously, I'm sure just about everyone in the wrestling community, got their ear to the ground. You may even have some guys that are going to start camping out with Kevin. Like that's just how it is. Like I think that the whole wrestling community changed once the Chris Benoit thing happened. I think they became so much more tight knit after that thing. It was something different.
That was absolutely wild.
We see that in the combat sports community too. But
Andy, what do you do to stay so bright and fluffy and smiling? Because your energy is so on point. Like
right now.
Well, I mean, I go throughout my day. I can be a real jerk, but I try to really be so nice to everybody. I smile. I say nice things, and a lot of people they don't understand that just smiling could make you feel better. A lot of us we think that we're alone, but going out there and just being able to put on a smile like you do could really brighten up somebody's day.
Thanks. The yellow shirt helps. Yeah. I don't know. I'm pretty nice, right? I think I'm pretty nice. You never know what the next person is going through, so it doesn't cost anything to be nice. I used to be a mean little fucker when I was in my 20s. I'm sorry. And now that I'm older, I'm nicer.
I don't know. I've never seen mean Andy. I guess we just been on the lucky end of that.
Only like the action pictures is like when I make those faces. They're so ugly. God.
So I got one more for you. Are you doing a calendar for this year? And if so, can we get one? Like, where do we go to buy one of the calendars that you do?
So on my Instagram, there's a Shopify that I have, and you could get posters or customized posters with my glutes, buttocks. Yes, we are doing one with Andrea Lee. She's just a bit busy, and I'm waiting for her photo shoot. So then, like, we could put all the pictures together. We always try to aim for like Black Friday, but with both of us being single moms and training and fighting and just trying to do all this, it's just hard, and we never make it by Black Friday. We're always so late. So it haven't been printed yet, and I'm waiting to get all the pictures together, and then we could actually print it. So I'm behind.
Is this this one right here?
Yeah, that's going to be one of the pictures.
So I like that one. So she is a little busy right now, but we can pre-order, it says right here.
Yeah.
Link in your bio. So we'll definitely be able to share that. I'll definitely grab one of those as well. But we're really excited for January 27th. Before we let you go, what can we expect to see BKFC 35 come January 27th?
I'm hoping for you guys to see that I have improved from my last BKFC match back in April, my debut. So hopefully you'll see better head movement, better footwork, better, I don't know. I just want to look crispier. I just want to look better. I just want to improve. If I start slacking off and start looking bad, like, one of those legends that's falling back, just let me know, because I need to stop doing it then. Like, I need to stop doing it. So I told all my coaches and cornermen and my teammates, like, look, don't let me get to like how, I don't know, like BJ Penn or, when these legends get so
we're talking about legends retiring. What do you think about Shogun finally hanging it up?
Wow. It's when I retire, it's going to be a sad day. I'm just letting you know that.
Yeah,
so sad.
We'll definitely miss you in the combat sports world for sure. But you know how we typically end these things. Andy, throw the proverbial microphone over to you. Anyone you'd like to thank? Training partners, teammates, shoot out the social media sites, any sponsors you have, anything like that. The time is yours, my friend.
Thank you. I want to thank you to Get Friendly. They're the one that provided Delta 8 and helped me sleep throughout the night. Thank you, Fontini, Alexa Connors, Maria, Emily, every girl that sparred with me, that got to punch me in the face. You guys have helped me out, believe it or not. All my sponsors, I'm so glad most of them are flying into town too. Just thank you to all my fans and friends and family and my haters too, because I know you're tuning in, stalking my shit.
All right, Andy. Appreciate the time as always. Best of skill in the upcoming fight. Hopefully, you show the rushing bomb that you got some bombs as well.
Definitely. Bye. Have a good night.
All right, everybody. That was BKFC strawweight Andy Nguyen. Yeah, I know. We were supposed to have her on at 9:30. She was been a little tired getting ready for the upcoming fight and life and everything else. So definitely have no problem obliging Andy getting kicked off a little bit early tonight.
Yeah.
Like, hey, what's going on? Well, we're going live now. Oh crap, what's going on?
Yeah,
threw me a zinger, Steve. What's going on?
Just for the audio listeners, like I was here chilling, I was getting all the photos all set up. Steve was like, she's getting tired, so they kind of threw me off for a second, and then it took a second to adjust, but this is something that we're so used to, Steve, right? At least you showed up and didn't cancel. I mean, I love talking.
I wanted to get her out of there. Like, we know how it goes, dude. They're tired. It's a long day. We're going on later at night, so we get it. Sometimes it's just like
well, look at her, man. She's just a ball of good vibes,
Yeah, she's definitely one of the bright lights of the combat sports world. She has a unique energy. She brings that not only inside but outside the cage. So cage, ring, however it goes, grappling mat. That's just who he is. But kind of circling back to things. Let's.
Well, I got a surprise.
Uh-oh.
So obviously, Brazil, right? The big statue in Brazil of like.
Yeah, I've seen that they had the belt on it.
Check this out, bro.
Out of promo.
Look at this. Absolutely.
So they filled it up with all the UFC fighters, legends,
Brazilians. Yeah, man. And then on the end of it, you saw the belt, obviously, which was so badass. I mean, I was worried for a second though. I was like, is that permanent?
Well, so I mean, obviously you were bringing that up. We already kind of loosely touched on it. What do you think about Shogun kind of hanging it up, put it up, and where do you rank him all time on your 205-pound fighter list?
So
is he in the light heavyweight Mount Rushmore, or is he just outside of it?
He changed history forever when he fought Dan Henderson. They didn't have 5-round fights that weren't championship fights. That fight alone, I mean, going all the way back to the Pride era, man, he's definitely got to be one of the best. And for him to have the resurgence that he did, I mean, we thought he was done a while ago, right? Let's go look at.
I mean, basically, let's go back. A lot of people thought he was done after he finally got to the point where he was the champion, and then along comes this little punk kid named John Bones Jones.
Yo.
UFC 127 just stops this incident in New Jersey. Becomes like kind of this beloved kid, and we'll circle back to John in a minute. But Shogun was the guy at the time.
Shogun, he fought Chuck Liddell, Yoda.
He had that run in Pride and things like that. So it was kind of like, all right, here come the Brazilians. Remember that was right around that time. Just about everyone was a Brazilian champion. Just about ever. I think it was more than 60% of the champions were Brazilian at the time. And John puts an absolute beating on Shogun, wins the title, and he ascends on his run over the next 8-9 years.
So I was looking all the way back. I think I saved it in here. I guess I didn't. Bro, he was fighting way before anybody was really even caring about mixed martial arts. To see him still doing it now with a record, he's only lost 13 fights his entire professional career. That alone is insane.
Someone's gonna have to prove me wrong that I think right around if a fighter has around 10 or 15, that's typically when they say they're done, when they have 10 or 15 losses.
So Shogun, who he's going to be headlining the prelim card, which I think is totally appropriate. And he's saying that he wants to go out with a bang. He's really going to try to finish his opponent. And I really hope that happens. But honestly, Steve, how do you think this one's going to go here?
You don't know, man. You don't know how much how much he has left in the tank, how much this this kid's gonna come at him. Knowing that's his last fight. You don't know what what shape he's gonna be in. Obviously, he's not prime Mauricio Shogun Hua, but I mean, don't think they should have. I think they should have had him on the main card. I think it's a mistake not have it. I think he should have kicked off the pay-per-view.
I agree with that.
It's one of these things that I feel the UFC has been missing on so many of these things. It's not just one thing. It's not just sitting here like spewing, talking crap on the UFC. They're not doing things the way they used to do things. I don't know if
Silva was Eric Silva.
They're just not doing things the way they should. And then they lose Shane Burgos to PFL recently. Obviously the big news this week was the whole thing with the contracts completely break down with Francis Ngannou, and he's going to be testing free agency regardless if it's a boxing match, regardless of what it is. He's in a position where he dictated where it was. He walked away. It sucks we didn't get to see him and John Jones. It sucks we didn't get to see him and Stipe kind of put the topping on their trilogy. There's a lot of things that go into it, but there's also things that go into it because of how the UFC does business. And then running with the narrative that man is scared of anyone is way beyond me. Like we're still running this line out that you ran out when Randy Couture were kind of pushing these same issues. It's like what the corporate response is going to be.
There's a video out there where Conor McGregor's like first making a splash and Conor's in front of him and Shogun's just behind him with his arms crossed looking at him like, what the hell is this dork doing? And he's making like a huge spectacle, and you just see Shogun. He's just such a badass, man. He's going to be missed. But at the same time, we've seen this over. Is this really going to be the end? Is he going to sign with BKFC? Is this really the end for him?
I think it's the end of his mixed martial arts career. What Mauricio done once his contract is and he's free in the clear of doing things of that nature. I mean, who knows what we see him do? He has to wait to that whole part of his contract is up. So,
well, man, it gets me all choked up because even one of our next guests, Alan Belcher, he was going to be able to retire and then step out of mixed martial arts because he was nervous of the detached retina. Now look at him in BKFC, the huge transformation. I mean, as time goes on, people would say, well, it's not a good idea, but Alan Belcher is an argument for that. Be like, take some time off, do what you want to do, come back and make a freaking splash, man. I would love to see that, but Shogun is a little bit older at this point in his career. He's an absolute legend. And when you get back to that question, when it comes down to greatest of all time in the division, I wouldn't say that, but I would definitely say a name that will forever be
that's why I said I don't think
obviously,
dude, John Jones has to be the guy there. Like he went on the run for the longest time. The only loss he accrued was because he hit Matt Hamill with a 12-6 elbow after when he dropped him on his shoulder, completely separated Matt's shoulder. So as soon as they stopped and get up, he was just like, "Yeah, I'm done," and that was the end of that fight. Had nothing to do with that. He was done because of his arm, and that's how John has a loss. If it wasn't for that one loss, his entire run in the UFC would have. A lot of people felt that he lost the first Gustafsson fight, point blank and period. You can make that argument. That was when the first time people kind of realized John was human in that sense. And the funny thing about it is because what we're just talking about with Francis is now John Jones is fighting Ciryl Gane. Was a March
my Cyryl's gone. Yeah,
March 4th at UFC 285. Man. So
I just want to say
then, go ahead, brother.
when it comes to Shogun Rua, if there's any people out there that don't know or aren't familiar, I would say go back, watch the Pride and Middleweight Grand Prix. Go back, watch Shogun in there with Chuck Liddell, outstriking Chuck Liddell. Go in there and watch the diving punch on Overeem or outstriking Machida, the blitzing Rampage Jackson. There's so many fights when it comes to Shogun Rua that are highlights for sure. And I hope they do a promo for it leading into that fight, which they normally do, right? They have a little send off goodbye like they did with Faber, which choked me up. I really hope to see that with Shogun, because if anyone deserves it, it's him.
Yeah, I think he should go out on a win, go out on a bang.
So before we talk about Jones, if you see up on my screen, Brazilian fighters with the most finishes, man. We have Charles Oliveira, Anderson Silva, and Glover, bro. Glover with 13 finishes. Do you think he'll be able to get the finish this weekend? Make it 14.
I mean, I think he should. I think he'll get back to it. The whole situation, him losing that title, was so freaking weird.
You know what's weird is all these legends that are still doing it, fighting at the top, like Glover Teixeira. If anyone needs,
well, you got to remember he started later on. Oh, Andy just sent me that photo.
But also,
hold on a second. I'm gonna upload it so you can
the co-main event on Pump 4 too, Steve. We got Brandon Marino and Figgy. What do you got here? What are you sending in?
Marino.
Here.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going. No, I'm saying, what are you uploading right now?
It's the photo she said she was going to show us.
Oh, of her stoned off of her ass?
Yeah. Hold on.
Bro, I probably have some funny photos of myself too. Quick updates for everybody while Steve gets this up. Edson Barboza is going to be fighting Billy Q. Also, Valentina Shevchenko fighting Alexa Grasso at UFC 285, which we were talking about on the last podcast. When's Valentina coming back? She's going to be fighting Alexa Grasso, UFC 285. So the Barboza fight with Billy Q, though, I think that's a little strange, even though Barboza's like 2-3 since dropping to 145. Billy's coming off an amazing finish, or an amazing fight, I should say, with Hernandez. But he's been hot and cold as well. Wins one, lose one. But he's been doing this damn thing, and I've been seeing him chilling with my boy Ben Davis, which we got to get on this podcast over here.
Yeah, right.
Are you having trouble uploading it over there?
No, I was just saving it real fast, but now I'm gonna upload it. So just give me a second. I'll be in the back
man.
in a second.
I don't know if you saw Ariel Helwani this week. Well,
you know I don't really watch this show, so you can just keep me up to date about it.
Well, I was getting like all these invasive thoughts in my head, thinking about all the MMA media out there, and I was like, a lot of these kids were probably pushed in lockers as kids. Like, if I was a new fan and I was trying to pay attention to the MMA media news, I'd be like, these guys, it's a lot of dorks in MMA media, which I totally don't vibe with. And when you meet them, they're complete dicks to you. It's like they think they're wearing the jock uniform now because they work for Bloody Elbow or MMA Fighting. And it's just like, I really want there to be a new age of MMA media. There's this guy, Jesse on Fire, I've been following, does an amazing job. We don't see really tough guys out there anymore. And that's what Strickland was trying to say to Ariel. He was saying, you wouldn't be at the bar with your homeboys watching fights for the knockouts. He was pretty much saying you're a nerd. Ariel went in so hard on him. I was super surprised, saying, bro, I was doing this when you were in your father's nuts, when you were in first grade. Dude, Ariel's got a little ego going on here, Steve. So I got to applaud him for that.
But he always has.
No,
he's
now
it's by anybody.
Vicious. He's getting vicious now.
He's threatened by everybody. We've already been over this.
But would you agree with me on that? There's really no like entertaining MMA media. There's Luke Thomas, which you spoke about last week, but there's really no one out there that's entertaining.
Yeah, but he has like some pretty aggressive opinions, and he's overly opinionated about some of those things, and I guess like people find him insufferable about X, Y, and Z.
Well, when people watch the Schmo and they get a kick out of it, they don't realize that he's making fun of the MMA media. It's like, you guys, wake up. You go to the post-fight press conferences. You hear the most ridiculous questions. What are you thinking about your next opponent? You were just on the cover of this magazine for home decor. It's like, what the hell is going on for you guys not to be able to sit down, do your research, and come up with some questions that have never been asked before? That's something I really pride myself on, Steve, when we do these interviews, is really trying to do a lot of research. And I feel like media has been really stale lately.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, they pander to whatever they think is going to get them credentials or X, Y, and Z. It's not. It's it's gets bad to like there is no real, I guess, journalist in MMA media because of just the way it's done.
The other thing is they're so afraid to even ask questions, or their credentials are going to get revoked.
Well, that's because of how it's done. It's bad for the fighters. They can only do things within this spectrum. Well, same thing with media. And it's, everyone feels like it's either you're in or you're out with that. And I won't, if I don't get a credential, I could give a fine F less. Like, I can still be credentialed just about every other promotion that, I'll still talk to the fighters. I just won't be able to go to X, Y, and Z UFC event to cover it. Whatever.
Well, do you think it's a step forward that Dana White actually did come out and do that press conference about his wife? I think that's something that he wouldn't have done.
That was he spent about 2 minutes of being contrite, and the rest of it was just oblivious nonsense. The fact that that there's nothing, there's no. He's not going to do X, Y, and Z. He's not going to donate X, Y, and Z. There's it's going to punish my fighters more than anything.
It's going to hurt more people than. What am I going to take a vacation here?
You were just talking about that Ariel has an ego, and then you're just going to talk about bring the whole Dana thing up. Like, come on, man, stop,
dude. Those two together is just absolutely hilarious. But he's this is what I don't get. He's punished fighters before in the past. The Luis Pena. There's been situations in the past. He brings Greg Hardy in. He yells at Roy Nelson for kicking Big John in the butt. It's like, bro, now you're doing this and you think there should be no consequences. Now we have the slap league that went through. Did you catch any highlights from that?
Why would I pay attention to it?
Yeah, you know what? I need to go back and watch it just for the fans out there.
I've seen a clip of this girl getting cracked and dropped, and she was clearly out, and she's trying to get up and does like a whole front head roll until they finally like wave it off. Like
there's girls
without a doubt that she girl had memory loss. I don't even think she knew that she was there. So I mean, it's rough.
See, I didn't know there's girls on the show.
Like I said, like this is something we did when we were teenagers. Like, why is this a sport? It's not a sport. And this is just as bad as people sitting there saying we should have MMA in the Olympics. You can't have MMA in the Olympics. It would be just about as bad. You're watching. We would be watching amateur MMA. So you're not going to be able to throw elbows, knees, etc. That's not what MMA is. So you're watering it down.
So let's see here. Let's see what we got here. I won't play the sound, but this might be what you're talking about.
No, that's not the one.
Best slaps from the championship. See, look at all the people there, though. There's people that are backing this. People are going, when is Will Smith signing up? Yeah, there's a bunch of big ass dudes here getting smacked, bro. I don't know how long this will last for, though.
Yeah, right.
What else are they going to do here? I mean, you're not going to have a season 2. There's no way they're going to have a season 2.
No,
So Steve,
I just think they're contracted to do the one, and they're going to have to do it now.
Yeah. So Steve, what are you looking forward to, or what's been something that's caught your interest so far this year in MMA? Because it's been really wacky.
I mean,
like, what's one plus? We've seen a bunch of negatives.
So
we've seen all negatives this year. There's so many negatives just within a couple of weeks. I haven't seen one positive for mixed martial arts.
I don't know where you're going to get positive. I really want to see what's going to happen with Francis. I think the UFC has handled it wrong, and they've been handling it wrong for a while. I don't know what finger you point at. I still sit there and say, we all lost a piece of what UFC really was when the Fertitta brothers sold the company, sold Zuffa, and it became something else. Yeah. I think people are miss Lorenzo more than you guys could ever possibly imagine. And I'm saying, you look over the last few years. I mean, you already know what it is. Andy kind of alluded to how the structure of it is, and we've seen it before. We've seen, as the sport's grown, how they don't take care of guys unless they're really pulling numbers from them. Like, do you remember how long a couple guys, what was it, Mighty Mouse, what wasn't making big money for a long period of time? I think it was his third or fourth title fight before he broke 3 digits, right?
Yeah, he was just sharing something about that too.
So
he was just sharing the embarrassing amount that he made.
Well, you got that saying, you gotta cut that out, brother. You're gonna get us flagged.
So other than the slap league, we got this one right here. That's something I'd watch, Steve.
Oh man, here we go with this nonsense.
That's something
I know. I showed that to Weather.
Your knockouts is spectacular. Know what that means? All this good stuff happening to you. Know what that means?
One thing I definitely want to bring up to you that's a great idea, in my opinion, is having Trisha go on Mike Tyson's podcast, right? Because he was supposed to fight Tyson. Tommy Morrison was supposed to fight Tyson.
We got to get Trisha on somebody. Some of these bigger platform ones, like, great. We had her on there, and I know she's done a lot of recent ones. She was on, I think it was former champion Tim Weather. I think it was Tim Weatherspoon's show. So I mean, she's doing the rounds, but just it's ridiculous. No one wants to talk about this. No one.
So what time is Homeboy calling in?
It should be 10:30. So
10:30.
Him another reminder now. Telling him 30 minutes. So
you want to click a commercial for everybody really quick?
Well, did we get the one in the beginning? No, I don't think we did, especially because we got Andy on.
I gotta plug the phone in with all the topics on it. I'm screwed right now. I'm sitting here with no topics, and the phone died.
All right, well, I guess it's right around the change of the hour. So yes, I think we can pause for about a minute or so for a word from our sponsor. Make sure you're showing that love for the Manscaped guys.
Welcome to Fresh Ball Fall. It's the season of pumpkin spice and making sure your crotch looks nice. That means sipping cider in a fall breeze and using Manscaped products to trim your balls with ease. That's right, today's show is brought to you by Manscaped, a company here to make sure that your foliage isn't the only thing shedding its excess leaves. Heck, even Mother Nature knows it's time to lose the excess clutter for fall. Join the 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping when you use the promo code BELLYUPFANTASY. Whether you're brand new or already with us at Manscaped, you could use the crown jewel of care for your family jewels, the Platinum Package 4.0. This glorious package, you can align your entire hygiene routine all in one swoop. Inside the 10-part Platinum package is everything you know and love about the Performance package, plus some shower goodies included to elevate your grooming game to Platinum. You can now completely upgrade your shower routine with the Ultra Premium Body Wash and Ultra Premium 2-in-1 Shampoo and Conditioner. You'll have your skin and hair feeling hydrated and smelling fresh. Don't forget to apply their aluminum-free Ultra Premium Deodorant. And don't worry, it's not pumpkin spice, it's a cologne-quality fragrance. Get the Platinum package this fall. These products are guaranteed to be hits for your dangly bits. Go to manscaped.com and get 20% off and free shipping with the promo code BellyUpFantasy. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com when you use the promo code BellyUpFantasy. Manscaped, clear out the leaves. It's your tree trunk's time to shine.
And we're back.
Right. Sir, we're back. We're back.
So I got something for you here, Steve.
What's up, bro?
We need to do something special for this podcast. And we've been coming up with some ideas of doing some watch-alongs, news stories. I would like to do a watch-along for the UFC 1 event, me and you, and fans could actually watch it free on YouTube when they tune in to listen, and me and you can commentate over a couple of events. What do you think about that?
Let's do it, brother. I already said we're going to do that. Maybe, see if we can get, one of our former guests or new guests on for that event, for that particular program. And here's the thing, I know we're coming up on another BKFC event. Who's been your favorite signee there? We just recently see Dotson make the jump over. We just recently seen Ben Rothwell make the jump over. Obviously, like we said, that Dave Feldman's kind of made the offer, publicly, at least for Francis Ngannou to come check out what they're doing over at BKFC. Where do you think his landing spot actually is? Is it we're seeing a situation where he only signs a one-fight contract? Maybe he goes and does go fights. Mr. Fury over there the other side of the pond. Maybe he does do a BKFC fight or a BYB fight. You never know who actually goes and gets the bring him in. You never know. You could still see him do some MMA stuff, but I just think wherever he's going to go, he's going to make sure that this thing is right.
Well, he said it had nothing to do with money. It came down.
No, it had to do with the other things that we've been talking about for a long time. That I said that it is eventually going to catch up to it. Everyone thought Rampage Jackson was crazy when he was getting mad about X, Y, and Z and
Bellator,
like asking for them to pull the numbers.
I forgot about that, bro.
Everyone thought he was nuts. He wasn't nuts. Is that they were keeping something from him. They were sitting there saying it's this and that. And listen, that's how he was banking on whatever. They did some stuff for him. And, Rampage did a lot of things to hurt himself in a lot of things. But that's neither here nor there. Listen, these guys are subcontracted employees. So they're not able to get things. Here's this thing. Unless they're have a fight contract signed, they don't have medical insurance. They don't have it all depends on what they make. So what does that mean? That means they have to pay out of pocket for an insurance for them, their family, their kids, etc.
Yeah, you saw Justin Gaethje being like, I need my opponent to break my nose in the fight so I can get nose surgery. I've been worried about my nose for how long, and I'm going to let him punch my nose so I can get surgery. It's it's kind of sad, bro. And when you look at it as the big picture,
that sounds like
how much they
something that criminals do. When you go to a federal prison and they ask to get in a fight so they get a tooth knocked out, and all of a sudden they get all new teeth. People shouldn't have to game.
What do you think about this? ex-employees, if you were at least a champion for the UFC, should you be covered by medical if you have something that occurred in the fight that later down the road is affecting you, like Tim Sylvia's arm, which he pretended
here's the thing. Like, when we talk about the major four sports, do they not have some type of pension XYZ for the retired athletes?
Of course they do. Of course they do. And they get paid pretty well. Other sports you're talking about?
Yeah.
Right, they're covered.
Yeah, so why is MMA? Oh, I've read the subcontract employees again. I got you. So and then here we're gonna have this conversation. You can't tell me that they haven't made all kinds of money off of these guys' blood, sweat, and tears. So tell me how Forrest Griffin is so well protected, and we're sitting here having this conversation about what happened to Stephen Bonner over the last eight or 9 years.
Well, Forrest Griffin.
Don't think that being under Big Daddy Dana's right arm could have saved his life in some way, shape, or form. So he talks about his fighter. So why don't you talk about your kids that brought you to this point? Why are we not talking about this? Like, there's so many different arguments and discussions we can have with this. Like, you cannot sit there and continue to play this game that boxing has played. That you can't do that if you really want your sport to be if you want to be the promotion for the sport. That eventually it's going to get to the point where you're going to have some type of union going, and it's going to ruin the UFC and whatever.
That was so big.
I'll always be. I don't know how many more times I have to say it. I'll always be pro fighter. But what are you going to say? Good.
Yeah. Years ago, there was such a big push for it. We had Randy Couture, Shamrock, everyone pushing for it. There has been no big changes, no matter what. Like, what is it going to take?
As it gets buried, and unless these guys have the money to put out for it, this is what happens.
You know
what happens when you go after a big corporation? What do they do to you? They bury you in paperwork and make sure it's years and years and years. So you have to pay all these fees and this wasn't ready this time, so this is why we need to continue it here, and they'll bleed you dry.
They paid 11% of what they made in 2021 to their entire roster. 11% of what they made in revenue was given to their entire roster of hundreds of fighters. 11%. Where did the other 89% of that go? And why can't you give a couple more numbers to these big fighters like Francis Ngannou? This is only going to help. BKFC must be sitting there like, you guys are tripping. You're going to give this up, like Shane Burgos. Are you guys insane? But for somebody like Francis Ngannou, a name like that they didn't fight for it, shows so much disrespect and says everything. Sometimes saying nothing about something says everything. How much do you care about your fighters? And Dana basically in his head is saying, don't worry, I'll just buy another one that will fill your spot. There's always going to be another person that will fill your spot. There's always going to be another Conor McGregor. There's always going to be another John Jones. There's going to be another Ronda Rousey. And it's sickening, man. It's absolutely sickening. But people could say the same thing vice versa for Francis. Be like, oh, they built you up, they gave you a name, the platform.
Well, that was one of the ones that like people. I've seen people online sitting there saying like, oh, you got rid of you let go one of the most boring, unrelatable guys ever. I don't see that how that's true. I think Francis is a terrifying man that he earned his stripes. He put the hard work in, coming from his back. Like dude, he's absolutely why because he's got a thick Nigerian accent and he's not acting a fool on TikTok, being all crazy like Conor McGregor or something like that's not who he is. So why should he have to pander to some idealistic of what people feel what a draw is?
And you know what, his mother,
the fact that he's an absolutely terrifying man that could stop you with one punch should be draw enough.
Ask Cain Velasquez upon his return when he went in there. Ask Alistair Overeem. I mean, it's It's really sad to see him go, but I like what he did because his mother, she still lives in that same hut. She was like, I don't want any money. I'm happy here where I am. So that's why it means a lot for Francis to be the guy that should make the UFC word that maybe another big fighter is going to do this to us. Let's actually start paying these guys.
Did Nate Diaz not just leave?
Well, he's at the end of the...
So what was he gonna go? He's gonna go push for Nick now. Is Nick gonna be the Diaz that he now like you think Nick's gonna
join
be,
the slap league?
Like he ain't gonna be Dana's bitch. Like, come on. That's what he does. He finds the weakest guys that he can find that he could sell, and he exploits them. That's what happens. It's what any promoter does.
I'm just a little surprised because we could have had John Jones versus Francis, and they didn't even push for that.
Like the fact that we don't have Stipe is an issue. The fact that Stipe went out there and said, "Hey, I signed a fight contract for John Jones for March 4th." They decided to go with Ciryl Gane, so that's not on him. The fact that contract was offered and they still don't go, like, what are we doing? We've been waiting what like almost 10 years for John to come up to heavyweight.
Yeah, when he was calling out Brock Lesnar. Brock, you want to see what a man quarter your size does?
It's rough, man. Like you lose the Ngannou fight, and then to have the first interim fight, you have it with Ciryl, and
my Cyryl's gone.
And John, come on.
So if John Jones wins, he's gonna do a GSP, I would say. Do you agree? I mean, how many guys at heavyweight is he going to go for?
What happened?
How many guys at heavyweight is he going to go for? And what other heavyweights would attract you to watch a John Jones heavyweight fight if he does win?
Well, here's the thing. There's a whole list full of MMA fans who have not seen John fight. So we're in this situation where, you go look at the betting boards and, you can probably tell that there has not a lot of people seen him fight. People have forgotten who he is. So it's going to be interesting to see what John does in this debut against Gage. It's going to be interesting to see how he does fare against him because, like we said earlier, a lot of people felt Gustafsson first fight was an actual loss. Some of the bigger fighters have given John an issue before, and I think memory serves me, Ciryl should be the tallest opponent that John has fought. So it should be interesting to see how John deals with that as well.
I love that you call him Ciryl. But
what happened? Yeah, he's Ciryl Gage.
Bro, my Cyryl's gone, bro. My Cyryl's gone.
Oh, yeah.
But when it comes down to it, the heavyweight division for John Jones got to be just a one-fight thing. I don't see him staying at heavyweight. I think he just wants...
I disagree. I think this is where his home's going to be. He's not going back to land on light heavyweight.
Well, you were bringing up the point that people haven't seen John Jones. And since he returned fighting OSP, didn't look himself, you could say his ring rust, a couple other... But he did have that DC fight. He did shut down Gustafsson in the second fight as well, but I agree with what you're saying here. We haven't seen the...
I just felt like he kind of lost his luster for it. You got to remember, he's not going to be the bigger guy anymore. So we it's going to be interesting to see how he does, how he looks. What does a heavyweight John Jones look like? Is he going to use more of his wrestling? Is he going to be more of that methodical striker that we've seen? Is he going to have power? Like he's a different man now. He's fighting at least a good 20 to 40 pounds heavier than what he fought at light heavyweight. So, we've seen pictures of him. He looks like a lot bigger dude now. Like, you got to think it's like he's not that beanpole kid anymore. So we'll figure out what a heavyweight John Bones Jones looked like.
Well, do you think that he lost his timing? Because this is what Johnny Walker is saying. I think John Jones has lost his timing. Remember back in the day, he was so unpredictable. He was just in there flowing, having fun, coming up with new things. We kind of saw the same thing with Conor McGregor in a way, but John Jones, he was so different. You never knew what he was going to do next. But with Ciryl, he's kind of the same way, right? He's kind of the same way where it's, you better watch out for that punch. He's got the kicks. I mean, this is something where I would be afraid for John Jones. However, if it was against Francis, I would be a little bit more concerned. I think this is going to be more of a fight that the fans want over a fight with Francis.
I mean, like I said, everyone wanted the bigger fight, not to sit there, like, not to take anything away from Gage whatsoever. Like he's definitely been in there. He's one of the top guys in that division. He should be in consideration for that fight. I guess what it is we've been waiting so long. We wanted that big, sexy fight. Like, to me, it didn't even necessarily have to be for a title. I would have rather have John and Stipe in a title eliminator while you put someone on the other side in a title eliminator, have them actually fight for the title. After you put a mini 4-guy tournament together, since Ngannou, you have to do something to excite the fans about this division. Now that you've taken away it's one of its biggest draws, you're getting another one back, and John, he has a new contract or whatever. That's besides the point. But you have to do something to do it outside of just bringing John in. This is what I'm sitting there saying, that I think Dane and the UFC keep dropping. Like, all right, you mess up. You don't get Francis back. You pull in the company line. That's fine. But then you're not doing anything to bring them back in. You're giving us the slapbox league. Stop playing.
Yeah. Thanks for that. I love that you guys are pouring your attention into that.
Well, no, like, I mean, everything's a distraction in life as it is anyway. Watching MMA, combat sports, whatever sport is distract us from life, and we want to be entertained, and I don't want to waste our time. And then here, pay-per-views are going up. We're paying for that. Like, you have to give the people more reason to be invested. And I think this is where the fighters are hurt way much more now than they were back in the day.
Why?
Back in the day, we were only spending $39.99 to $59.99 a pay-per-view. Now it's almost it's $89.99.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
While we're also paying a subscription to ESPN Plus, while we're still paying a subscription to UFC Fight Pass. Everything's more now. Back then, all it was we had our two or three times a month we would have to pay for a pay-per-view, which averaged out to about $100 sometimes, and then you can go buy your fighters walkout swag from Tap Out or Affliction or whoever the company might have been. And now, like, everything goes through the UFC. They've controlled everything, and it's getting to the point where everything's gonna start breaking down to the point where you're going to, while you're already having it. Nate Diaz is left. Francis Ngannou is left. You've already have a bunch of middle tier guys that were already building their way up to B stars have gone over to other promotions, PFL, Bellator, etc. You lose. You
got Jake Paul.
Ngannou is now in Bellator, and we're chasing down that Cyborg fight. We don't know if that's going to happen, but and speaking of which, Bellator's one of their champions, Daniel Strauss, just signed with BKFC. So you're seeing guys move around. You're seeing what an open market in combat sports looks like. It's what way it should be. What UFC's done is kind of almost imprison these guys, and we've built this community up on everything has to be the UFC. I don't think it necessarily has to be the UFC. They don't need to be the premier promotion in MMA, combat sports, or anything else in between.
They're messing up. Do you think the UFC made a mistake by not signing Jake Paul? Or
no, I don't think. You already know how I feel about that kid. I mean, I know he's put a lot of work into where he is, but until I start seeing him fight guys that aren't 35 and up and on the back nine of their competitive career and 3 weight classes below them.
but you do have to give it to him that those guys are tough opponents, right?
Not at that weight.
He's
fighting welterweights. Are we going to go over this again? He's fighting welterweights. Okay, I'm 200 some odd pounds. Let me go fight a 170-pound fighter. Hey, I'm gonna get the better end of that at 9 times out of 10 because I'm the bigger, stronger man. Of course. Why am I excited about that? There's nothing exciting about that.
I'll stick by that. There had to be some clause, like a 60% clause, where it was like you can't go 100% in on me, but you still believe that Anderson Silva knockdown was fixed, right?
I mean, it looked wonky, but I can't sit there and say with 100% certainty that this is what's going on.
I think something like that's going on. You're just telling me that Jake Paul knocked out Woodley, he knocked out Ben Askren, he knocked out Anderson Silva.
He knocked out a guy that should be in a walker because he had one leg, his hips completely done, so his mobility's what? Oh, so let me just pop shot a guy who in boxing who's known for his wrestling. Real tough matchup. So brave. So brave. Come on, stop. Tyron Woodley. No, gets Woodley. What is he again? What is he most? Oh, he's a wrestler again. Oh, that's right. Granted, he developed an overhand right. That's one move in boxing, right? That's one thing. Okay, I got you. Yeah. Are we gonna still have this conversation? Anderson Silva, 180 pounds. All right, so you move up a weight class, but he's almost 50. Yes, he was on I think like a 2 or 3 fight winning streak, and he's beat some legitimate boxers.
All right, so he's
still fighting a guy half his age who is still a weight class above him. Yes, Anderson has fought as high as 205. Technically heavyweight before, but we're fighting a guy that is literally a shade of himself. We've seen what Anderson Silva is. That's not Anderson Silva. That's not the Spider.
So our boy, moving forward, Paul Felder to replace Joe Rogan as commentator at UFC 283 in Brazil. How do you feel about the commentating? Do you think Joe is going to stay with us much longer?
He's probably not gonna be strictly to specific events. Especially to the Vegas area. That's first and foremost, because that's where kind of his background is anymore. It's not far from his home, up there on the West Coast. And I think he'll be there for certain things, and that's fine. We've been spoiled with Joe for so long, and you have John Anik, you have other guys that they brought in, fighters' perspectives and things. Like Joe's great. I'll always like Joe's calls will always be great. I'll always remember the stuff with him and Goldie during the early age, but I have no problem with Paul taking more fights. Even though I never really cared for him, Michael Bisping has been a great addition to the production crew as far as the play-by-play and analysis goes and things of that nature. He was a completely different man when he was competing, but that was also because he had 2 seasons of The Ultimate Fighter to kind of really paint him in another light.
Oh, that season with fucking Mayhem, bro. Jeez. But the season he was on,
but
season 5,
Jason was in no position to do anything anymore. His knees were done. He was not in the right place mentally. The fact that they even had that thing go on is beyond me. Dana should have nipped that in the butt, shut it down, and had someone else brought in.
I got an update for everybody. Obviously, I'm a Mayhem monkey. I don't officially have my number yet. I should probably get on that. But Mayhem is a firefighter now, Steve. Firefighting out of jail. It's like a halfway house thing. He's another one, man. So much potential. Just didn't have a good run in the UFC.
Not just had a good run, just like he had to go through so much to get there, and we've seen a shadow of what that dude used to be. And that's the same thing. Like, I think that's why ultimately Fedor never came to the UFC, because he realized, like, my best days. I'm not gonna ruin my name and my legacy just to go chase a handful of guys in the UFC. I mean, let's be honest. Everyone so wanted to see, Fedor and Randy or Fedor and Brock, like any one of those two guys during that time, or even Kane at some point in time would have been great. But I mean, it's just wishful thinking. Like, when certain guys get to a certain point that they're at the end of it.
Bro, I want to see Kane come back and fight fight the child guy, the bad guy. I want to see him shoot a takedown and land it. See Kane come back in that era, in that kind of a light. But yeah, that's another thing too, man. We're seeing so many of these older legends out there fall into some of the worst situations that we didn't see in the past. You had Shogun with this incident. You had what was it last week where homeboy killed his wife? It's like, do you really think that CTE plays a role in this, or do you think this is just human emotion purely?
I mean, you can't sit there and say if it is or isn't CTE, or just somebody just
You're telling me the JDS fight with Kane,
an emotional episode and lashing out to the situation or whatever. But you can't not sit there and have this conversation, because we've seen things where a lot of we were just talking about Chris Benoit. A lot of people want to blame CTE for what he apparently did or didn't do. There's still some people who believe that Kevin Sullivan had something to do with that, and that Chris was just a victim of the situation. But you never know. We there's so many different sides of things, and
go back on that. I didn't. Who's that? Chris Sullivan? Because I did hear conspiracy.
Kevin Sullivan. All right, so remember his wife, right?
Yeah.
That she was one of those early ring girls slash wrestlers. And they had a run in WCW where Kevin Sullivan and Chris was supposed to have a thing where he was supposed to take his girl.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be fictional, and then fictional became real life. And there was a point in time where a handful of wrestlers have confirmed that Kevin told Chris that he was going to kill him. And the death happened right around the 10-year anniversary of the breakup and the marriage of Chris and his wife, Nancy. So you want to tell me a guy that loved his wife and did all these great things, strangled her and his son, and I had a problem believing it when I heard about it. Some of the things that Chavo had said, and some of the last, I don't believe that he did it. You can't prove it. You're not going to have anyone who's going to dig into it and do whatever. But this is why I said, when that happened, the wrestling community changed, and they banded together a lot more, so they don't allow some of these things to kind of happen. Right. But it goes to go look when we come get done with tonight's show. Go Google Kevin Sullivan, Chris Benoit, and go and figure that out, and just come to your own conclusion. And me and you will talk about it some other time. Maybe we'll do a special episode on Belly Up to sit there and say, are you pro Chris did it, or are you pro someone else did it, and Chris, you'll see it. It's crazy. You don't know if it's CTE. You don't know if there was a situation where Chris did snap out. You don't know if it was something where Kevin did the unthinkable and Nancy just let him in, and God forbid it was a crazy situation. You don't know. It's one of these things where you're gonna have people on both sides of it.
See, I heard that WWE, the day that it happened, couple hours before it even happened, they switched up some of the information, saying, because I think he had a fight coming up, and they changed it.
Well, he had missed, I think at that point in time when that thing was going on, he had missed 2 house shows, and then he missed the Backlash where he was supposed to take another title, and he was going to be on the fast track to ascend. All right, so we got Alan in here. So you ready to get this going?
Yep. All right.
Can you guys hear me?
What's going on, Alan?
What's up, guys? Can y'all give me? Can y'all give me just a minute? Fuck.
Yeah,
yes, sir. We can give you a minute.
Steve, you want to hit the commercial?
Yeah, hit a commercial. Give Alan a minute to get himself situated. So
football is
What's
back,
up, guys?
baby, and our new sponsor, True Classic, wants you to look and feel your best even after a couple of brewskis or going full force on your fantasy football draft. Sure, it's football season, but it's also butt to couch season. Luckily, True Classic has the absolute best fitting clothing a man can buy. Snug in the arms and chest with a little extra space in the torso, their t-shirts are designed to keep you cozy and highlight your best assets no matter what you're up to. So if your special someone is upset that you're watching football all day, at least you can look good doing it. True Classic has already helped over 2 million men find the perfect fit at an affordable price. Our listeners get access to the best deal they offer. For a limited time only, get 25% off with the promo code BELLYUPFANTASY at TrueClassic.com. Almost all men's t-shirts are designed to look good on skinny models with six-packs, but most of us aren't packing anything but a few beers. Fellas, you are wearing the wrong clothes. True Classic tees taper off towards the bottom, but they fit tighter around the chest and shoulders. It's time to highlight your best attributes with a t-shirt you can always confidently throw on. It's about time to get your fit together, so upgrade your wardrobe with True Classic and get 25% off at TrueClassic.com with promo code BELLYUPFANTASY. Free shipping included on purchases over $100. That's 25% off at TrueClassic.com with the promo code BELLYUPFANTASY. If there's one bet you should make this football season, it's on True Classic. True Classic, look good, feel good.
And we are back.
yeah, that's right. We are back, folks, and we are being joined by the man himself, Mr. Alan Belcher. How we feeling this evening, my friend?
Brother, I'm good.
Looking good, bro.
You just got. I know you just told me you got out of the shower. You just got done training, or what are we getting into tonight?
Yeah, brother. Yeah, man. Just finished up training. I drove all the way to Alabama tonight to Blake Singley's house. We got a whole backyard. I call it the white trash backyard setup, bro.
So what we got?
It's like a homemade ring
and everything.
It's a homemade ring with the dogs and the kids running around and the little shed and stuff that we train in. It's cool.
That's awesome, man. I got something to say to you, though. I don't know if you are Alan Belcher anymore. Do you know these conspiracy theories about like Paul McCartney? He got in a car accident and died, or Avril Lavigne.
Now it's a totally different.
You have made the craziest transformation I've really ever seen. You were the #1 contender at one point. You almost had that fight with Anderson Silva. You stepped away because you didn't want any more injuries with the eye. Now you're back BKFC, man, and you look absolutely amazing. So I want to congratulate you on that. It's absolutely amazing, the transfer.
Oh, seriously, if you go and look up Alan's cards from his UFC days and try to look at what he looks like now, yeah, you'd be like, that's not the same guy.
Really? You guys think so much?
No, the whole internet does. The whole internet is so proud of you for the transformation that you've made. They're so excited. And you're putting on too, man. So what was the big thing? Because I knew you didn't want to compete again because of the eye. What has changed over the years?
Oh shit, man. Yeah, y'all want to go? Y'all want to go deep in that?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, everything that's going on in the UFC world. Francis is leaving the UFC. A lot of the dirty laundry that the UFC's been pushing under rugs I believe is finally gonna start coming to light. I mean, I think it's a good time to talk about, some of the stuff that really gets on. Some of these conversations need to be had,
Yeah. Look at that. Shit.
Yeah, right.
You're right. Well, I had hair. Yeah, I had hair, brother. The hair.
Is that what it is? It's just you had hair back then, and now you like to keep it clean shaven.
Let's be honest. I'm bald. I'm fucking bald, bro. No. Sometimes the hair's got to go, and if you're one of those guys that's hanging on to the hair a little bit too long,
it looks better.
It might be time to let it go. It's cool, man. You can just let it go. I kept mine too long, I feel. But I was always telling people like, hey, I'm about to shave this. I'm not keeping it too long, you know. And they're like, no, it's fine. You could keep it way longer. I'm like, nah, man, it's too.
You look like the crazy uncle if you don't shave it off, you know.
Oh yeah, exactly, with the thin hair, man. But
I had a kid in high school that was going bald, and I felt so bad. It's so early to start losing your hair.
Oh, I mean, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
I'm starting to go gray, and I'm like,
dude, yeah, mine started really early too. Like, yeah, early. Like even in my early UFCs, when my few times when I shaved and stuff, I was always thinking about letting it go, getting rid of it.
But man, you look awesome. You look awesome. Look at that.
I look fabulous. Look at that motherfucker right there.
Absolutely amazing. Happy and just Steve, before I jump into that, you wanted to talk about the whole Francis situation, right?
Let's get it.
Yeah, man. Like, dude, I think it's a big time right now. Like, you seen, Nate leave and play out his contract, and how that whole thing played out. You could tell they were trying to devalue him before he went into the market. You've seen Shane Burgos leave. Obviously, Dana openly came out with saying we effed up. Yeah, you guys have been effing up for a while, doing things the way you've been doing it, and I think it's fine. Like fighters are finally gonna start seeing like when you see a guy like Francis leave, not just in his prime as one of the top handful of top draws in the UFC. I think it's a big thing.
Oh yeah. Oh man, it was bound to happen though, right? I mean, that's
bound to happen. I think the fighters have been fighting against this model for more than 10 years now. It's not just the unionizing of it. It's not. It's every aspect of it. It's just the UFC tries to control everything, and it's just not. It doesn't work well when you do things that way, and you're starting to see the pushback of it and the retaliation of it.
I'll tell you the worst part about that whole thing. To me, I feel like the worst result from that is the lack of respect from the general sports fan, and that started to turn around, but it's because it's everything. The fighters are making a little bit more, and we're getting covered on ESPN. There's a lot of channels. There's a lot of content for the sports. So that's making people start to understand it and like it a little bit more.
Well,
the level of professionalism and athleticism for a UFC fighter, I mean, it's no less than NBA or NFL or something.
And that's some of the things we were talking about before we had you on. Like, you go and look at the NFL, they have if you're in the NFL for 3 years, you're a part of the alumni. There, you get X, Y, and Z.
Yeah,
I don't think there should be any reason if you competed 10 fights in the UFC that you should be put into some type of alumni type thing where you guys have some type of medical pension, etc. Like Eddie was sitting there breaking off some numbers. Like, I think what was it last year? The athletes got paid 11% revenue that they make in when they make billions of dollars a year. It's disgusting, man.
Yeah, yeah, man, and it's really it's just a shame, man, because people would and the day is coming. The day is coming for sure.
Oh yeah, it is. I still think the most messed up thing, I think, when it was happening, like a lot of people didn't realize it, is Dana White basically used the UFC 133 thing as I need to control the uniform as what the UFC is doing, and killed all sponsorship for you guys.
Yeah,
it was just, it made things really tough, and then even worse so is because we have X, Y, and Z sponsor. Well, you can't talk about this now. You can only talk about if you're talking about betting, you can only talk about FanDuel, because we have a deal with FanDuel, and if you have a deal with whoever it is, you can't talk about that.
Uh-huh.
It just makes things really difficult, and then you have the deal with when they came out with
my perspective of how I view it set up is kind of like the Dallas Cowboys is the NFL. And I think that's going to be the thing that makes a big difference, is that.
Well,
whenever a fighter, whenever
I'm glad you said the Cowboys, because if you look at what happens to the Cowboys over the last 20 years or so, they've been kind of humbled and things of that nature. Are they successful? Yes, but they've never gotten back to the pinnacle. And I hope what we see over the next few years is just everyone sees what the market really is and not really get caught up in them contracts and trying to play that game with Dana and or the UFC.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Well, it's going to be more organizations that come in and compete, and there's going to be a need for an Ali Act where one organization can't hold and control and leverage the world championship belt. It has to be a third party, and there has to be bidding that drives up the pricing that you contract the fighter for. So that's gonna need multiple different organizations. So investors, the people out there with the money are starting to see the trend of it. And the more that they get involved in it, they realize that that it becomes less of a risk to go out there, because everyone is trying to build something up so that they can grow a company to be able to afford to compete with UFC. Kind of like Dave Feldman has done with BKFC. He's been out there and he's busted ass. He saw the vision. He saw an opening in the marketplace, and he's out there just working his ass off to fill that gap that needs to be filled and bring something to the table where fighters can actually get paid. And the same fighters that are the MMA fighters in the UFC are starting to be, the fighters in BKFC, and he's just trying to fill that spot in the marketplace that's inevitable. So more organizations like that coming in, offering more money, it drives up the bids, and you almost don't even need a third party in a way. But in order to unify everyone together, which is going to be the case, I think Bellator is doing really well. PFL is doing really well. Of course, ONE FC gets more eyeballs in Asia than we do over here. So these are all going to start to compete with each other, drive up the dollar amount that a fighter can make for a belt, and then somehow work out some type of deal to unify. And they see it. I mean, you see Dana White talking to Chatri and doing a little ONE FC collaboration, because why not be part of it before you get put out of business? That's the turning point. That's what these guys are
opened the doors a long time ago. He needed, all right, when they initially did the Pride versus UFC thing, why not bring that back? Why not do a thing with Bellator 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Why wait? What exactly what you're sitting there saying? Like why not get in something with ONE FC and do a tournament with a hand? Like, you don't even have to have your biggest draws there. Just get guys who could make fun fights and compete. You don't have to have your world champions compete on the ONE FC versus UFC.
It's a natural evolution, man. If you see, I mean, we want it to happen now, but it's happening. It has to happen.
It has to happen.
And the thing is, right? If you look at it from the UFC corporation's standpoint, they've just made the decision at the time that they thought was the best way to keep growing the company. And they probably do take into consideration the culture of it and the frame of mind of the viewer and their reputation. I mean, they take a lot of things into consideration, I'm sure, but they're at the end of the day, they're making the decision at the time that no one is big enough to really threaten us, so we're going to keep doing it this way. Once you get someone that can threaten them, then the deal starts to change. You see ONE FC coming in is like, well, we've analyzed this Chatri Sidiotong guy, and he is, we found out, a bad motherfucker. And he gives zero about what people think. And he has not only said, I'm going to start, have a goal to have a company or be a billionaire. It's much bigger than that. He's just like, all right, I'm going to take this over. Watch me. Stand, you know what I'm saying? Hold my boxing gloves for a second and just watch what I'm doing. And now he's threatening. So they're going to come together. and eventually more and more of these types of men or women or whatever that are just such high achievers that are going in this lane because it's getting bigger. It might be my kids who know, and they're going to come up and they're going to create more things. And then you'll see the future. I predict in 100 years from now, fighters are going to be the highest paid athlete. And
in the slap league.
That's the way it's got to evolve. What's that?
The slap league's going to take over everything. Right?
Forget it. Yeah, they're going to take over everything.
Oh, man.
Yeah, man.
I'm still irritated that's even a thing, man.
No.
Like, Alan, isn't that what we did in high school?
What's that?
The slap box stuff.
Oh, you're irritated that slap boxing is a thing? I never did it like that.
But that's what I'm saying. Isn't that like what we did when we were teenagers?
Now, slap boxing is different than this.
The slap league. It's a slap league.
It's slap league, yeah. Now, it is entertaining. I mean, when I see those videos, I don't turn it off before there's impact. I definitely watch the whole thing. It's entertaining as fuck. And on a certain level, it's a mentality. Okay, so I mean, don't count it out all the way, bro, because you might not.
I mean, I don't sit there and say it's not going to be a thing. I know what our culture is all about and things of that nature, but yeah, and then there's this too.
Oh wow!
when you got the girls smacking each other on the butts as a thing.
Oh man,
it's like really.
Classic. I mean, it's a real stand-up.
I'm actually really close with this guy's name, Slap for Cash. He was on Jake Paul's The Slap That Changed My Life, and he's been doing this for a long time, telling me how big it is overseas. I'm just surprised that the UFC didn't go in the direction of having like the Diaz brothers as the coaches or something like that, kind of bring it together. I didn't watch.
That'd be a good idea. Yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe you should start a slap league with the Diaz brothers. You'll be the next.
I do a slap league in the bathtub with myself. Hey,
would you the seriousness of this show just went way down. So let me grab my charger for a second. Give me 30 seconds.
So Steve, I want to get into his top 5 finishes, and I want to ask him what does he think are his top 5 finishes, and I'm going to give mine as well. Do you want to hit a commercial while he takes that quick break?
Let's see what we have here.
I got to talk about that Paul Harris, man.
Yeah, right.
We cannot, that Paul Harris, Patrick Cote fight.
Oh, hell yeah. We're charging now, boys.
There we go.
Okay, so, before we get into that, I heard you guys talking about the fights or whatever. Like, I want to, I just want to, and I know that you were asking about it earlier, and we don't have to go super deep into it, but I would really like to just not make it about myself so much for just a second. So, he was asking about like where all this, my transformation and everything happened. And what I've discovered recently is I've really asked myself a lot about my fighting career and like where I really want to go with it and what I want to do with it. And things just are so different to me now. Like I don't feel any fulfillment at all unless it's some type of like connection or helping out my kids or leaving a legacy for my kids or some way that somehow affects other people and like impacts other people, I guess, and I know that that's kind of like a cliche thing. And I've probably wanted to feel like that before, but was almost like judge people for that or whatever. But that's honestly how I look at this now. And a lot of it has to do with what, he was asking about is like how this all happened, and how I ended up taking time off and coming back. And
it was after the Bisbing incident You detached your retina that made you a little nervous.
Right, for sure, man. I'll put it like this, and I'll make it super clear, and I'll tell you guys in a way that I've never really told many people, especially like on social media, is that what happens in from my experience is I was following my heart, following my dreams, and I was on this path, and I was very close, right? And even with eye surgeries and with having kids and all these things and having businesses and whatnot.
Still #1 contender, almost fought Anderson Silva. You should have been Chris Weidman. I mean,
I mean, just, the details don't really matter that much. In my own life, I feel like, was going somewhere. I was going in the direction that I wanted to. And I felt a calling to that, even though everyone else was telling me how to live my life, and what got me up to there was my own sense of pursuing freedom and being ambitious and kind of being having a free mind and doing things my way, because it felt like that from the heart. And what happened was that I slowly let the world kind of tell me what to do, and whenever when you stop following that feeling or whatever, then life gets real rocky, and it lets you know. So after that was really, I made a lot of money in business, because one of the reasons, to be honest, is just like we were talking, is that even when I was fighting, it was almost my ambition to like climb the ladder, the hierarchy.
You were training kids with your friend at the gym.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, well, I started teaching, to make ends meet or whatever. I got some success in like teaching people and making money at doing it, so, but that's not what led me into martial arts and stuff to begin with, so that all turned into something totally different. And I ended up making good money in business, in a lot of different things, because I was trying to apply myself. I was trying to fulfill myself, but I thought it was the fulfillment and the success that everybody else talked about, like the houses and the cars, the money and all that. And then once I got there, I realized that that's not what I wanted in the first place. So it's almost like a unique perspective that I'm blessed to have been there and to push myself so hard where most people wouldn't, and to feel those feelings in such an intense way, and like make it to a level where I could even like compare it and be, see that, that's not what you really want out of life. It's like, it's fulfillment. So without all the details or whatever, I mean, I was at the lowest part of my life. I went through a divorce. So I felt like I was losing my family. I had no close friends that I could really talk to. And like, it was rough. Like I was so prideful and stuff. I kept everything kind of inside.
Didn't ask anyone for anything, right?
Yeah, man. And, a lot of, I'm sure you guys have had some low moments in your life, but this was like, this was like a breaking point for me. And so it ended up leading to, without going into too much about it, like to this whole, me just getting tired of living a mediocre life as far as like experience goes. Like money and all that doesn't really matter. And I think that maybe it did have something to do with COVID. It really it showed everybody, as silly as it sounds or whatever. It's like, we're all affected by that some way, so it kind of gives you a chance to kind of step back, and what was going on in the world, like all of a sudden was halted. And then you could kind of see that you're like, oh shit. Well, like kind of life keeps going on, even when the business is closed down, even when you think, you don't have any income or whatever. And even when people are dying and sick and everything, it's like, it still goes on. And so it's like, it gives you a different perspective. So all this time, during this time period was, gives you a different perspective. So I decided to then put my energy into living every single day like I was whenever I was younger, and I was chasing that thing and I didn't get sidetracked, getting back to my true self and my heart. And, it's all about the experience, so sometimes you gotta kind of like reinvent yourself. You gotta be reborn. That's what the spirituality and religions and stuff teaches is, you need to be saved if you're lost, so it's like that's what this is about, something so much more deep to me. And I feel like that's why I'm having success, and I'm such a a more clear thinker, a realistic. I can tell in my training and my fighting and everything, I'm just so truthful and so honest with myself. It's like I can feel the energy, so it's like
purpose. You have purpose again, right?
Oh yeah, for sure, man. I'm having a blast doing it, and like, my kids get to see me doing this now, and it's cool. Sometimes you gotta face your fears and put yourself out there.
Do you feel like your past is a big part of the way people look at you, or do you think your BKFC career right now might be some of your best that we haven't even seen yet?
I think that I believe I really 100% believe that I'm developing into a fighter that I'm going to get better in the next couple of years. Now, I'm not unrealistic at all. I don't want to do this forever, but I'm at that time where I'm just like still prime enough physically, but my mind is very sharp. It's more clear than I ever was when I
say this a lot. Like when everyone says fighters prime, I think that's two different levels. You have a physical prime, and then you have a prime both mentally when everything starts to kind of fall in together like a tumbler lock,
Yeah, exactly, man.
And I think you're getting to that point where everything's slowing down. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
It's like when we were younger, we were just so like we know everything. We're gonna do things this X, Y, and then everything starts to slow down. It's like maybe we could just tweak this, and you're starting like you're sitting there saying like you're finding yourself in a way where like I can't wait to see where I am in 2 years with this because I can see where I'm going.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I'm feeling that growth.
I mean, we're already starting to see bits of it, and Eddie was kind of touching on some things. You think people kind of feel like. The people know the Alan Belcher of the UFC or the BKFC. I mean, we were just talking about it. There's some guys that are watching MMA that never seen John Jones fight. I can say the same thing where I think, yes, you are kind of completely reinvented yourself as this BKFC fighter in Alan Belcher that. Belcher, the MMA fighters, kind of faded into a memory, a movie, old movie we used to watch or something like that.
That's good, man. That's what you have to. That's what you have to do. And I know that that's scary as shit, but it's like you have to like die.
Put that person away. It was a great run. It was a great experience in my life, but. I have something else I have to kind of focus on and re-put my energy into.
Exactly. Right now in the present moment, this is what we're focusing
now,
on.
When doing your training, what is kind of the more funnest part that you're getting out of it? What is kind of the thing that really makes you want to get out of bed? Is like, I can't wait for this aspect of it. Is it the kind of the learning some of the more nuances of BKFC that is kind of still a growing fluid sport, or is it just the fact of you kind of sharpening that sword a little bit more?
Man, yeah, it's just the consecutive growth. The consecutive growth feels really, really good, like every day leveling up. But the thing that gets me out of bed in the morning now is just that I try to live life like every single day is not to be wasted, and we're all gonna die someday, and we don't like to talk about it. We like to put that back, and we live in this fog or whatever. But I don't know. I think about it a lot in a positive way, And it gives me freedom every day to be like, I got this beating heart in my chest. Like, let's not squander it. Let's make this life like, you know, as good as possible. You know, let's enjoy it and not have any type of negative bullshit at all.
Well, how much of this is like has to do with where you left off in your career? Did you feel like things are unfinished? This is not the way things are supposed to end, and I need to do this. Is that somewhat of a part of it?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, like you have to be, look, every man has a desire to go up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's in you. And if you suppress that, and it's a spectrum, don't get me wrong. I feel like I probably have it a lot more than the average person, you know, and it's yearning inside of me. Maybe that's some of my trauma or something, who knows? But you guys have it too. You wouldn't be doing something and putting yourself out there. You know, you're fulfilling yourself one way or another. And that's what I'm getting at is I don't know if the reason why you're doing the podcast is to try to get, you know, to make money, which is kind of like going up or whatever, or to have the fame, you're going up, or if you've just found a hack that just fulfills you and you're like, this, I'm passionate about it. I don't give a shit, you know, but either way.
Well, when me and Eddie kind of talk about it, when we do it, it's passion first. And if and when that other part comes, great.
Right. Because it feels good. Like it feels like it's fulfilling you now, right? That's what passion is.
See, the thing, you make a good point, because my other show that I've been doing is, you know, I just ranked again for the top 40 MMA podcast to follow, like the fourth year in a row. But I'm more motivated to do this with my friend Steve to build this up together. It has more of a meaning to do it with somebody.
Now, like you're sitting there talking about passion and things like that. Like we're getting to the point where we want, like we have this show with it, but now we want to help the platform that we're with do other things. Like we're getting ready to do like a sports card / hobby show with a card grading company. We got our irons in so many different things, man. We're trying to have some fun, trying to make fun content for everyone. Like I said, if and when that money gets involved, that's great, but it's more about producing fun content, having fun conversations, and having these stories where you guys are able to kind of release another layer out of you. Like we had Eddie was a goof, and we had Houston and Joey on, and then Houston was about to come on and just brought them both on, and we were having a conversation. When we got done, Houston was like, that was probably the most fun interview I had probably ever. Like and he just started pointing out some of these things. It's just, we have fun. We like to have fun. We like to bring guys like you on, girls like Andy on, and just have the conversation like we've known each other forever and get some of that fun stuff out of there. That's what we're passionate about. Like I said, the money thing would be great one day.
Yeah, exactly, man. So I found out the same thing. So to circle back around, you asked me about, does it have something to do with that? And yes, I feel like I'm better than that. I feel, and that's just that feeling of going up. And this is just a hack to me. This is not only a way that the place that I want to go makes, thank you, sir. Appreciate that. The place that I want to go has multi 7-figure paydays. It's so it just so happens that actually fulfills me, and I know that the same thing when you make that kind of money versus the money that I've made, it's the same thing. It's never enough. If that's what you're going after, it's never going to be enough. And so
the black
that's
hole
that's why, bro, this is why I'm such a dangerous fighter right now, is because it's
never going to be enough. You're a black hole that's never going to be filled.
Let me put it this way. Like my stepfather, he worked so hard in his life. He had the boat, he had the nice house, he had the nice car, he had my mother. Unfortunately, he had me too and my stepbrother, but he never really got to enjoy it. He worked so hard, work, and he didn't have a chance to enjoy it. And up until he passed away from a brain tumor. And it's like, a lot of people do forget to count their blessings in the moment, Is that something that obviously is happening more and more for you, and you still have something that you're chasing after, man? It's got to be so exciting to be Alan Belcher right now.
Yeah, I mean, it really is, man. It really is. It's a good life. I'm super grateful to,
So before we let you go, I got a huge question.
Let's go.
I got 5 of my favorite finishes from you.
Cool.
All right. And I'm going to put them out there, and you tell me which comes in at number 1. Back in December of 2009, you fought Wilson. Then January 2009, you had Dennis Kang. You got the submission. You fought Patrick Cote in May 2010, where you slammed him, man, which was brutal. Paul Harris fight 2012, and Jorge Santiago, December 13th, 2006. Which, or am I missing one? Which has been one of your favorites memories here?
Wow, those were all just very, like, those were just amazing experiences. So I think I would have to like judge that by which one changed my life the most or made like a big change, and I would have to say Dennis Kang was probably one that I had a lot of thoughts of. I know this guy is like, a lot of people would agree that he was the top, he was a top contender then when I fought him, like he was like, I was, the thing is, in my world, in my mind, my belief was he was a top contender, and that's the only reality that really mattered, so going against Kang was like going against, in my mind, a top contender, and I got myself in a confident place. I was training with Duke Rufus. I think this was my second fight with him, first or second fight with him. It was pretty early on. I think it's second fight. Yeah, because my first fight with Duke, I think, was Caleb Starnes, where I hit him with the elbows and cut him. And
those elbows, bro, are dangerous, man.
Yeah, bro. It's yeah. So we went to me and Duke really, we had a lot of conversations about innovating and changing the game into a lot of the things that you see in the sport now, which I'm not saying that we invented it or anything, just we were on that. I feel like that Duke is a very strong force in the evolution and whatnot. And
there goes Alan's phone just died. Pretty sure Alan's phone just died on us.
We know what that looks like.
So with that being said, I mean, I know that his phone was dying right there, but I really want to know what his favorite one was, and we got that answer against Dennis Kang. But the craziest part about this thing is, though,
mine was the when he beat Paul Harris.
That's what I was gonna say. The elbows that he landed on that, escaping the heel hook, was absolutely insane when that all happened. And I think that's one of the things that people remember about Alan. And now that he's back doing this thing for BKFC, man, is absolutely crazy, because we don't really see guys that are at his age, right, coming in and looking amazing. But BKFC, they have some like fairy dust or something over there, where we're seeing some of our favorites look like they're superhuman. Steve, would you agree with that one?
Listen, I love the transformation that he's made. I love the run that he's on. Unfortunately, he started it off by beating our boy Bobo. Here's back. So here we go. Get the finish.
There we are.
Technology loves us once again.
So you're saying the Dennis Kang fight, but me and Steve were actually saying the Paul Harris fight is what really sticks out a lot with. Did we unmute? You got to unmute his mic.
Yeah, he has to unmute it. He's muted.
There we go. There we go. Yeah, me and Steve are saying the Paul Harris fight is what really sticks out for us. But for you personally, the Dennis Kang fight, because he was supposed to win, and obviously you changed the books on that one. Oh, we lost him again. I think his phone was about to die again. We'll see. We'll see what happens here, Steve. But yeah, man, Alan Belcher, top 5. Those are my 5s. And we're talking about 2009, 2012.
Yeah, but like I said, dude, like he just went and gone on this road, beat Bobo. He obliterated Frank Tate. Now he's getting ready to take on the title. Can't wait for that opportunity for him. I know that he's been putting the work in. Obviously,
look at him shredded, bro.
Yeah, man, like he's looked amazing. I know a lot of people like to hate on these older guys when they get to this point. And they look good, and at their age, listen, this dude's been putting the work in for some time now. I'm not gonna tear him. I cannot wait to see what him and Arnold do inside that circle in less than a week. I can't wait to see the potential of him getting that title, getting to the pinnacle of BKFC. If it happens that way, man, couldn't be happier for the guy.
Yeah, and Andy as well. So yeah,
he's having problems. So no.
Yeah, I would definitely say
be
that.
the end of that.
Well, Steve, I think this was a decent episode here because this upcoming fight here with Glover Teixeira, I'm more excited about Figgy Marino. You gave your prediction. You think Marino is going to win. I'm going for Figgy on this. Right? You're going for Marino?
I'm going for the babyface assassin, my friend.
Bro, I'm going with Figgy, TKO, round 3. My boy actually just won $2,000 on DraftKings. So me and Steve got to get in on that the next show or something. We got to place.
We need to get them to like spot us some loot, and we can get started.
yeah, exactly.
Give us like $200 to crack crack it off with, and me and Eddie will start showing you some prop bets.
Yeah, exactly.
I would start off, and I'm not even going to MMA. What I know for absolute certainty moving forward right now, if anyone's betting anything, bet the under on anything Ben Simmons. Ben Davis. Yeah. He is absolutely falling complete apart. Basketball fans should absolutely hop all over that, especially if you're betting degenerate.
So with that being said, Steve, this has been episode number 17? No way.
We're at 16. We're on
16. Man. 16 episodes.
Next week will be 17.
We got some surprises next week, or I should say I got some surprises.
We got another BKFC fighter who probably be like this week where Andy will be kicking right off with that person. You mentioned his opponent tonight, and I'm not gonna tell you who that is, but you mentioned his opponent tonight.
Huh. That's messed up, man, that you're not going to tell me that.
But the other half of it is a former boxing world champions prodigy. I'll just say it that way.
I can't wait for that one. I know what you're talking about there. Guys, make sure to subscribe.
Already had anyone who's followed me long enough, I already had him on another network. Either way, it should be fun. He's got a big fight coming up, has a big fight announcement coming up. I don't know if he's actually made it. So hopefully things got pushed back enough where we get to break the fight news. But he's got a big fight coming up, so that's why he's going to be on. Obviously, our first guest has a big fight coming up because his opponent was just announced within the last 5 days or so. So, he's fighting a former UFC fighter. So it's a BKFC guy fighting a former UFC fighter. So you have to put 2 and 2 together.
Guys, let me know what you think about that because I can't even put it together here. But I just want to say really quick, thank you guys for subscribing, following. We will have the highlight show up every week of the best moments of every episode here in Combat Deviants on the Combat Deviants YouTube channel. So go over to Combat Deviants, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, all that. I'm Evil Eddie. That's Steve. And we hope you guys have a great Saturday. And we will be live tweeting. And with that being said, we'll talk to you then. Adios.